Cade was ranked 67th. Bojan was ranked 73. But Evan Mobley, Scottie Barnes, and Paolo Banchero were all ranked above Cade. I believe Scottie Barnes was in the 50s. I think Evan Mobley was right at 40. And I think Paolo Banchero was 2 spots ahead of Cade. I'm going off memory, though.
Yeah, he was.
I don't have a problem with where Cade's ranked because I think it's still kind of a high ranking for only playing 12 games. And I know it's based on his rookie year and the 12 games into his second season. But I can't complain about where he's ranked. He just didn't play.
Yeah.
But having Evan Mobley at 40, and when I was first reading, I'm like, okay, cool. They're not going off of the past playoff experience, the past playoffs we just saw. But then they were. That's what I didn't make sense because they bumped up Jimmy Butler from like 16 to number 9 based on his playoffs. How do you watch the Cavaliers playoffs and not push Evan Mobley down? He got outplayed by Mitchell Robinson in the New York Knicks. Like, he got outplayed by Mitchell Robinson. And because of that performance, you move Mitchell Robinson from 114 to 88, but Evan Mobley still stays number 40. That wasn't a top 40 performance. That was shit. All I've heard about is how great of a two-way player he is. And I know the defensive stuff, but he's a complimentary role player. And that's what they said in the article. I don't get you can have all the love for Evan Mobley, all you want. I just think the love for him right now is just so silly to have him ranked that many spots over Cade. And I didn't even care where Cade was ranked. I just don't see Evan Mobley as a top 40 player. But what are your thoughts on Evan Mobley? And we'll just keep going down the list, or whatever your thoughts are on this list.
I thought it was kind of funny that he was at 40. And like, to your point, he kind of disappeared in the playoffs, and the Knicks just completely exposed them with Mitchell Robinson. I don't have a problem with Evan Mobley being on this list, but he should not be top 40. I think if anybody on his team should be in the 40s, it's probably Jared Allen, not Evan Mobley. Jared Allen, like I've told you, Jared Allen is the glue to that team. Everyone labels Evan Mobley as this generational type of center, but we constantly see him getting exposed in the playoffs or getting exposed just on matches. I think Evan Mobley is a great player. I just don't think he's a top 40. If you're ranking him out of the 125 best players in the world, you're telling me he's 40th. I would disagree with you on there. I have no problems with Cade and where Bojan were at. Cade didn't play, and I think Bojan is a high-level role player. I'm fine with that. My problem was with Paolo Banchero being ranked above Cade Cunningham. That was my biggest problem. Even though he won Rookie of the Year, congrats to Paolo for winning that. You're putting Paolo Banchero above Cade Cunningham when I think if you look at their numbers, obviously, Paolo and Cade's rookie seasons were pretty damn similar to each other. Obviously, Paolo had a couple more stats. I think he averaged more points a game and rebounds. But, I mean, Cade was averaging, I think, close to 26 and 6 as a rookie. I just think with some of these lists, there's a lot of media bias. And it seems like every time we react to these lists, Detroit players get disrespected. And I hate to puff my chest and say Detroit versus everybody.
Yeah.
Like every time we react to an article or a list or whatever. But I mean, I encourage people to read this list. It is on my Twitter if you guys do want to check it out, or just go to theringer.com. It was 125. The top 125 players in the NBA right now. The fact that LeBron James isn't in the top 5 is just blasphemous.
Dude, he was number 15.
It was 15. Blasphemous. You have LeBron 15th. Are you serious? The guy's 38, basically carrying his team in the playoffs right now. It's just like, come on, man. This whole list is just bullshit.
I mean, even with Anthony Davis's performance in the playoffs, he should have been higher. If you were going back and readjusting this list for certain guys, why did you not do it for everybody? If this year's playoffs took effect like it did for Jimmy Butler, like it did, I believe, for Devin Booker and Jordan Poole and Mitchell Robinson, how did it not affect guys like Evan Mobley, guys like Scottie Barnes, all these guys? Anthony Davis, like I was saying, how is he not in the top 10? How is Damian Lillard still ahead of him when we just witnessed Anthony Davis look like the best player on the planet? If this list was just re-edited just a little bit ago for these playoffs, there should have been more edits, and this list should have been changed. I think all the guys like Evan Mobley, Scottie Barnes, Paolo Banchero, I feel like all those guys should still be in the 60s with Cade. I don't feel like Evan Mobley is 27 spots better than Cade Cunningham. And it seems stupid, to be upset about that, but like, just make it make sense. That's all I want. Like, you called him a high-end role player in the article. And you're like, oh man, go on, my bad.
I'm not even upset with it. It's just, I think where Scottie Barnes was at, I think all of those guys, the second, like Jalen Green didn't even make this list.
I saw that.
Think about, like, if I'm a Houston Rocket fan, Jalen Green had a great season this year. Now, obviously, they're in a similar situation with the Pistons where, they didn't win too many games, but I think Jalen Green's second year, he probably shown the most improvement since he's been in the NBA. You're telling me Jalen Green is not a top 125 player? You're telling me no one on Houston is good? Like, I just think there's just a lot of recency bias with this whole list. And I think it's kind of like the ESPN list when they had frickin' John Stockton over Isaiah Thomas. Like, some of these lists are just bullshit, dude. Like, and when I read it, I just get a good laugh. I was like, wow, these guys are just oblivious.
I was just laughing because like the list itself was made, I think, at the beginning of the year. And then they just started re-editing it for the playoffs. Like Derek White was on it. Some other names were on there too. And I just didn't write all those names down, but I was just kind of surprised and shocked. I'm like, dude, if you had watched these guys last year, they wouldn't be where they're at. You're definitely doing this based on the playoffs. So I went back and looked at the list. I'm like, yeah, sure enough, they are still talking about this year's playoffs, and they edited it because of that. But it just doesn't make any sense. But again, I'm not trying to hate on Evan Mobley. I just don't think he's the two-way player some of these articles are pegging him out to be, which I mean, he's a very good defender, and he can be a complimentary role player on offense. Like, he can't create his own shot. You don't want him taking the last shot in the few seconds. He is, as much as he hides Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland defensively, they hide him offensively. They put him in the right spots to succeed. And then Scottie Barnes, like, the reason I didn't agree with the reason I didn't agree with their reasoning for the ranking was, well, he still hasn't found his role with the Toronto Raptors. He's playing down to his game. If they weren't so young and had so many players, his game would be expanded. What? How are you ranking him this high just based on I don't know what the article is about, other than ranking the players, but some of them were ranked for potential, some of them were ranked for what they're doing now. And then I don't know. It was just so weird. It felt kind of lazy in my opinion.